Today we're going to dive into Amazon Polly. Amazon Polly is a text-to-speech engine to allow one to take written text and convert that text into audio output. The idea behind Amazon Polly is that one can automate the conversion of textual documents, outputting them out as sound. There are a number of use cases that one can learn more about, and within this section one can find a number of documents and use cases. The pricing of Amazon Polly is based on the characters. Can start with a free tier which allows you a window of 12 months with a number of characters per month. As you can see here, we have the free tier included are 5 million characters per month for the first 12 months. After that, the pricing mechanism comes in. Even though we're going to use Amazon Polly in isolation without any other AWS services attached to it, if one clicks on the Getting Started page, one has information as well as examples and how-to videos together with developer guides and SDKs that allow one to control Amazon Polly programmatically. The idea of Amazon Polly is that it is plugged in to their chain of other services, and here we have a typical example: content creation, where one has an RSS feed that is pulled in using Lambda. Lambda feeds into Amazon Polly that converts the text into an audio, and a second Lambda function then saves the content into an S3 bucket. People's imaginations will create new cases that are not shown here. Once we invoke Amazon Polly in its GUI interface, we can see that it has two engines, one neural and one standard. If a language is grayed out, that indicates that the language is not supported by that engine. So if we look at Arabic Gulf, Cantonese and Catalan, which are grayed out here, if we swap the engine, you will see that they came out. I had English Indian, and the moment I moved into the neural language, the voice I had for English Indian came up with an error telling me that it is not supported by that engine. The different engines have their limitations. If we take English US and we're going to have Sally, let us look at the differences between the two engines. Let's first listen to the neural.
Hi, my name is Sally. I will read any text you type here.
That was neural. Now let's try standard.
Hi, my name is Sally. I will read any text you type here.
Neural is more human-like than standard. If we click on the info, the sidebar comes up and we take the text that is provided by Amazon and we copy that. Let us change to Justin. Justin is a child voice.
Amazon Polly offers neural and standard text-to-speech voices. See our documentation to review pricing for neural and standard usage, and our FAQ about service regional availability to check which regions support neural text-to-speech. Amazon Polly offers neural and standard text-to-speech voices. See our documentation to review pricing for neural and standard usage, and our FAQ about service regional availability to check which regions support neural text-to-speech.
The voice dictates the dialect, that dictates the regional setting of that particular language. We know that South African, Indian, British, American, Australian are all distinctly different from each other. Each option has an info which, when clicked, brings up a sidebar to give more information, and there are links one can follow through. The SSML option, and SSML stands for Speech Synthesis Markup Language, gives us even more control. And if we enable that, the first thing you will notice is that around the text we now have tags. And if we click on info, we will see that SSML is a tag language that give us additional control. If we open the info page, we have a section of the documentation related to SSML. Amazon Polly only supports a subset of the SSML markup language defined by the W3C consortium. The different tags may vary depending on engine, and we will have one case in this particular demo. If we click on SSML supported tags, we will see a list of the tags and whether they are fully supported, partially supported, or not supported at all. If we click on any one of these tags, we will see a description of the tag and the attributes it takes, and finally we will also have an example which we can use. Without further ado, let us take a few cases. So we're enabling SSML and we're going to have a look at a few tags, describing them along the way. The speak tags, start and end of this text, let us use English British, but having one or a number of words pronounced in another language. We're using French and Italian here. If we listen to it.
Welcome to this demo. The French word for cat is chat. He prefers to eat pasta that is al dente.
The non-English language words were pronounced phonetically correct. Let us take another example. What we have here is the famous "to be or not to be" quote from Shakespeare. The first observation is that punctuation, both in plain text as well as when SSML is used, it is used to control the pauses within the text. What we are using here are the prosody text, where we can control the speed at which the text is spoken, the volume, as well as the pitch at which it is spoken. We also have breathing. Let's change the language. We are told that the input we provided is invalid. Check your input and try again. In the GUI, this is one of the shortcomings of Amazon Polly. The editor is not very helpful. We're not given what the offending input is, where the offending input is. This is relatively short text, but if it were lengthier, it would be a chore to find out where the problem line is. I've tried this, so I know what the problem is. The problem here is that the neural engine does not support one of the tags we have here in the lower half. Changing from neural to standard and clicking, listen.
To be, or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing and them, to die, to sleep.
It would have been much more helpful had we been told that the tag was not supported by that particular engine. And it would have been even much more helpful if we were told what the tag is rather than have to figure it out ourselves. Another problem is that the error doesn't go away when the issue is corrected. And it may give a false sense that there is a problem when in reality there isn't. The final text we're going to share, rather than me explaining, let's listen.
SEE stands for Software as a Service.
You will notice here that the first part was read out as letters, and this tag allows us to achieve that. Final options are the additional settings. One can specify the sampling rate and the output format. One has additional option that allows the person to upload their own lexicon. When one is satisfied, the options are to either save the file to a string or to download the file.